today we are embarking on a journey that I am very nervous about, but also very motivated to get good at. And today we are doing one of our very first gouache paintings. I've done one before, so this is technically my second, and I'm very nervous, but let's get into it and see what we can create today. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing super well today, and I'm so excited about this. I've been wanting to do a painting video for so long. I just didn't know how to set myself up for all of this, and then anyways, we got it figured out and we are doing our very first full canvas painting today, and I am so excited to share this journey with you. I'm going to try to document as much as I can on my channel, because also it is a big motivator for me to come on the internet and share what I do with you guys. So that is what we are going to be doing today, and I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. So in the beginning there, you saw me just prepping that square space with a little bit of water. Since I have these very old canvases, they're just a little bit dry. So I like to prep my canvas by hydrating it a little bit, because these are so old. So I like to put a little bit of water so that the gouache kind of applies better. And I did this very nice pink base for the piece that I'm going to make. And this is the very satisfying washi tape paint peel, because obviously I had to include that. That's probably what everyone's gonna stay for, and then everybody's gonna leave, and I totally understand that. But yeah, this was so satisfying. I did get a little bit of pink at the top and on the side, but that's okay. I go back in later and fix it with some white gouache to kind of hide it up a little bit. But anyways, yes, so I wanted to do this very, defined background color, even though that the piece that I'm going to be doing kind of goes past that border, and I really like that kind of layered effect that it's going to give. Here on screen I'll put the inspiration board that I made on Pinterest that really kind of inspired me, that inspired this entire piece, I guess, quite literally. So the main piece of inspiration was really that, so a lot of the credit goes to whichever the creator made that. I wish Pinterest was a little bit better at, identifying the original creators and artists better, but unfortunately Pinterest is not the best for that. So actually, if anybody has any suggestions in terms of resources to use where the credits are better than Pinterest, please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to know. I'm a huge Pinterest user in terms of just finding references for drawing, and again, things like this for painting, also for crocheting, my apartment mood board, and all that kind of stuff. So I use Pinterest a lot for that. But again, the credits are not the best on there, so if we could fix that, that would be great. But anyways, yes, any resources are appreciated. One of the biggest challenges for me in art is actually using color. I quite like the style that I have in terms of line art and how I approach drawing and styling certain things, but when it comes to using color, that is such a foreign part of art to me. I just really struggle with color theory and making sure that colors work together and that everything looks cohesive, and just mixing a green that looks good with pink, and then I'm going to be using blue, and it's just very confusing and scary to me. But I'm also trying to push myself out of my comfort zone and really practice that skill as much as possible, because obviously if you don't practice that skill, you're not gonna get anywhere. So I'm trying my best to just really work on that, and painting is one of those things where it's not you can just add a filter on top and then it looks nice, because you are quite literally painting it by hand. So this is gonna be a very exciting exercise for me to practice more and more. But yeah, it's definitely something. I'm trying to understand what looks good in cool tones and warm tones and contrast and composition, and I just feel like I'm back at square one when I started drawing all those years ago, and I'm just having fun. I'm having a lot of fun, but to go deeper into my knowledge about it. But I think the first two colors that I already have on the canvas here, of that nice gentle pink with this nice I don't even know how to describe the green, but it's a nice green. I really like this green. I think the two really go well together. And I think that green was a very good base for the colors that I wanted to go for. I do darken up some leaves later on with a darker green, but in order to mix that color, I end up using that same green base and just adding like a darker green into it to like darken up the color. So it still keeps like the cohesive color scheme that I have going on in terms of like the hue, I guess. I assume it just changes the vibrancy and saturation. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but you know what I mean. It goes darker so it looks like shading. There we go. That's all you need to know. So yeah, again, color is very challenging for me, but it's very fun to practice and mix around paints. I think that is very fun. In terms of paintbrushes, I have like the cheapest of the cheap. I use stuff that I got from like Dollarama a long time ago. So it's very interesting because especially with markers where even if you push harder, it doesn't necessarily change like the thickness of your brush stroke. Well, okay, unless you have like brush pens, then that's a little bit different. But I think also the fact that the barrel of a marker is also bigger to hold versus a paintbrush. I definitely had to like, it was definitely a learning curve for me to learn how to properly hold a paintbrush and how to set my wrist so that I can control like how much pressure I'm putting on in order to get like a stability and those finer details. And you see me practicing a lot of like, starting thin and then pushing thicker for like that thicker part of the leaf and then thinning it out again in order to do the little like, tip of the leaf. So again, everything is a huge learning curve for me right now, but I'm also really enjoying like trying to apply what I already know to this new skill that I'm building. So that's been very, very fun. But yeah, painting is definitely something that is challenging for me. I've done a lot of watercolor in the past, but it's different than gouache or acrylics or oil paints, I feel like. Again, a lot of painting is all about layering. I think painting is quite literally only layering and illusions, but it's just the idea of doing like a watercolor wash and then just like spraying some details is very different than detailed shape work in terms of gouache like I'm doing right now. So anyways, not to get into the technical details, it's different than what I've done before and I'm trying it out and I'm having a lot of fun. But yes, as I mentioned before, here is me mixing that darker green with that same green base that I had used before. So I have, again, that same vibrancy hue situation. It's just like a little bit darker and more desaturated. I don't know what terms I'm supposed to be using because I've never really taken art classes. But anyways, here we are. Also, apologies for like how low quality this clip is. I do not know what happened to it. I think either in like the transition from my phone to my computer to edit, it just changed the quality of the video. So I apologize for like the graininess and low quality of it. It does get back to the higher quality a little bit later. But again, I'm just like shading up some leaves in order to add a little bit more dimension. And I really like that two-tone green situation that we have going on. I think it looks really good. You also see me very often flipping my canvas from like, portrait to landscape and just constantly moving it around in order to like best suit my wrist. This is something I try to not do too much when I'm recording like flat lays of like bullet journaling, just because like it can, be a lot for a viewer to watch that constantly be flipping around and turning and it can get very dizzying. But for painting, I was like, that's too damn bad. I need to turn it, so I will be turning it. So I apologize if that gets a little bit annoying, but I try to like slow down that part so that it doesn't like flip and make people dizzy. But anyways, yeah, it's been helpful to do that and adapt for my wrist because again, I'm not exactly very used to painting and I do have hypermobility, so that makes holding things a little bit challenging sometimes. Anyways, here comes the point where I started getting very scared because I was like, oh my god, we are going in with the blue and I'm scared that the blue is not gonna fit well with the other colors because again, I'm not good with colors, but I said, F it, we're doing it, we're committing, and I ended up being able to make these very nice round blueberry shapes, which I thought would be one of the hardest parts because, I don't know, round things are difficult to make. But I think the little shapes I made ended up turning out really, really good. And again, I'm very happy with it. I think it turned out great. I did the same concept of just like doing that basic blue base color, and then I go in a little bit later to do like, what is it called? It's the head of the blueberry, I guess. Like the darker part, you know, that like used to be the flower, but now it's like the berry. Anyways, that I ended up making darker by using that same blue base there. And I think it turned out great. Looking at it now, I think it would have been really nice to go back in at the end and add like some little white highlights a little bit everywhere in order to like make it pop out even more. I'm currently looking at it on top of my shelf right now and I'm like, maybe I should do that. But I think I'll leave it as is and I'll just make another painting using that technique now that I know I want to do that. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to see my entire process and see how I feel about it afterwards and even a couple weeks later. For the second painting, I really wanted to keep it like very much like simple and using like very like block shading and not doing like gradients or anything because that's still very challenging for me. For my first painting, I did kind of do a mix of both and it looks a little bit messy. You'll see it a little bit later on in the video on top of my shelf. But yeah, it looks like a little bit blocky and a little bit strange because I'm still like not used to doing gradients and like mixing things together and blah 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 blah. So for this, I really wanted to do like that blocky, modern, simplistic style, and I actually really love how it came out. But yeah, this was super motivating to do. I really had so much fun doing this, and it took me only like 4-ish hours to do. So it was actually pretty quick and I had a lot of fun, and I think it also makes for a great video. Again, I want to really document my entire journey of painting, and this is how it ended up turning out. I'm actually very happy with it. I think it turned out very cute, and I don't know, I'm very proud of it. So here it is on my shelf with my first painting there with the fish, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye guys!